In this demo, I'm going to show you how to set up a Sony NW-ZX2 to work with Dapper. So I've downloaded Dapper for the first time. I'm going to go ahead and launch it. It tells me, welcome to Dapper. Let's go. First, I need to unplug my DAP, so I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Click on Done. It tells me that what Dapper does is it copies from iTunes over to my DAP, so that's great. In order to do that, it needs access to iTunes, so it's going to make me select that. That's okay. Can also make me select my DAP drive or drives, and so the NW-ZX2 has an internal drive and also has an SD card. Okay, let's go ahead and start with the music access. So what it wants me to do is select my music folder, and it's the folder that contains my iTunes library, so I'm ready to go. And in my particular case, here it is. There's my iTunes library. In fact, I have lots of different iTunes libraries, so I'm going to go ahead and click on yes. And in my case, I have lots of different libraries. You may only have one, but if you have more than one, it'll ask you which one you want to select. I'm going to click on OK. It tells me that Dapper is going to sync playlists that either contain the word Dapper at the beginning of them or that are in a Dapper folder in iTunes. And I have in fact already done that. If you look at my iTunes, I have a Dapper folder and a bunch of different things inside those folders. So let's go and have a look. Here's my iTunes. And I have a bunch of different folders in here for various different DAPs, but here's my main Dapper folder, and you'll see it has all local music. That has 4,000 tracks in it, recent 25, recent 50, etc. And you can see in the recent 25, I've got a bunch of Beck songs. So I'm good to go. I'm going to click on Done. It tells me not to press any buttons while it's syncing, and then tells me to connect my DAP now. So I'm going to go ahead and plug the ZX2 in. And it detects the ZX2 and gives me a bunch of information. Now, we definitely want you to read through this when you go ahead and set yours up, but I'm going to explain to you everything that's on that now. It finds my DAP, finds that it's a ZX2, and has suggested changes for me to make. I'm going to click on Apply these settings. Now I'm going to click on Done. And the first thing it wants me to do is it wants me to access the drive, the Sony drive, for it to get access to my DAP itself. So I'm going to click on Select Drive. And it gives me a notice that once again we want you to read, but I'm going to go ahead and click on OK, and you'll see that it takes me to the list of drives on my Mac. And in this particular case, I have 3 of them. I have essentially a data drive, I have a backup drive, and my internal drive. That's all fine, but I don't see the Walkman drive yet. So what I'm going to show you right now is what my Walkman screen looks like. And what you'll find is that when you connect your Walkman to the DAP, it will show up on this particular screen, which allows you to turn on USB storage. And essentially, there's a couple of different things that you're going to be doing when you're syncing. You're going to be turning on USB storage so that your Mac can see your NW-ZX2. And you're going to be selecting from the Android device which particular storage you're actually going to share. So to get quick access to these, what you can do is take your finger at the top of the screen and slowly drag down, and you'll see that there are some quick selections here. And the ones that we care about most are the turn on or off USB storage and the SD card selected. It's either going to say SD card selected or internal card selected. And Dapper is looking for my internal card first. So I'm actually going to go ahead and tap on that entry. And it brings me to this screen. And this is a very important screen that you're going to see when you're synchronizing your device, because this is what's telling your device which particular storage to share. And we want to share the system storage first. And we want it to automatically connect. So essentially that when we switch devices, it's automatically going to connect those devices. So now that I've done that, what I can do is I can drag back down from the top and go here to turn on USB storage. And I'm going to click on the turn on USB storage button. The Android icon will change from green to orange. And you'll see that now on the list of drives that I could select from, there is now a Walkman drive. So that's great. I'm going to go ahead and click on Walkman and select Use this drive. Now, if I look at what's happening here in the background, it's saying, go ahead and select the second drive. So that's great. I get click select second drive and it gives me more information. And essentially what it's doing is it's telling me to eject the Walkman drive first. I'm about to switch and I don't just want to disconnect drives. I want to eject them first. So you may have the drive showing on your desktop. If you don't, you can open up Finder You can scroll down to the particular drive. I see it here, it's Walkman. I'm going to click on the eject button, and I'm now good to go. I'm going to click on OK. And now it wants me to select the second drive. And once again, that second drive is not showing. So on the Walkman, I'm going to drag my finger down from the top. I'm going to tap on System Storage Selected because I essentially want to select the other one. And I'm going to simply tap on SD card. What that's going to do is it's going to tell the Walkman to go ahead and mount the SD card on the Mac. And there I see the Walkman SD card has mounted. If for any reason this doesn't happen automatically, what you can do is you can actually turn your Walkman off and on again, and it will automatically reconnect. So that's very handy. I'm going to go ahead and click Use this drive. Let's move the Walkman display window over. Tells me more about the setup. Once again, from this point on, you can read the information to hear what it has to say. Ask me to install scripts. I'm going to say, yes, I want to install those scripts. Tells me I can allocate my music between the two different storage areas. I can then click on the lock button and I'm ready to sync. All right, so here is the main Dapper window, and you'll see that I have my internal drive here. I have my SD card there. It's suggesting how I should split my artists between the two. I'm going to click on no thanks because I have it set up already, but you can choose how you want it automatically split. I can put all of it on the left. You'll notice it's too much to fit on the internal storage, all on the right, or in my particular case, I want this as my split. I can then click on the lock button and click go. Now in this particular case, it's going to scan through my library. And as it scans through, it's looking at all the artwork, it's looking at all my playlists. And if you remember, I had all local music, recent 20, recent 25, etc. So it's going to scan through all of those. And then what it'll need to do once it has the music library in its memory is it's going to want to see what's already on the DAP. And in this particular case, it's asking me to go ahead and switch drives. Now it ejected my drive automatically since it knows which ones I'm going to use. And it says, please go ahead and select the internal storage. And if I look at my Walkman again here, system storage is not selected. So I'm going to go ahead and tap on it. And now I really don't need to do anything on Dapper anymore. I select the system storage. My Sony DAP is going to go ahead and allow that to be mounted on the desktop. Here it comes. Dapper finds it, and now it's scanning the internal storage of the NW-ZX2, finds any changes that happen to be there. Looks like 94 megs are going to be copied. That's great. I'm going to go ahead and click on continue. It's now copying over what was missing. So it looked at iTunes, looked at what was on, should have been on the card, and is copying over any differences. And then it's going to want to look at the other drive. It's going to want to look at the card. And so it ejects the internal automatically. It says go ahead and select the other card, and that's great. I can simply tap on the SD card and the Sony. And the Sony will share that card. Now, if your Sony doesn't automatically share that card, after about 30 seconds, if it's not doing it, you can always simply turn off and turn on your Walkman, and it'll mount automatically and you're good to go. So now it's checking that second card. In my particular case, there's going to be a couple of changes. So I'm going to click on continue. And now it's done. It has ejected the Walkman SD. And at this point, you're good to go on your Walkman. You can simply drag down, go to turn off USB storage because we're done sharing. We've done synchronizing. I can go ahead and turn it off. And now I'm back to using my Walkman, and my new files will now be sitting on the Walkman.